My name is Omar Ashraf. I'm going to give you a brief description about our project in the embedded system course, which is called Smart Park. The idea is basically to help the driver entering the parking to find a parking slot faster and in order to save some time. Now I'm going to give you a brief description about the project. Let's run through some scenario. Let's imagine that a car is at the entrance of the parking. The driver will be prompted with two outputs, first the LCD and the LEDs. The LEDs indicate whether there is a car in this parking slot or not. So the red one indicates that there is a car in this parking slot, and the green LED indicates that this slot is empty. Also, LCD display will detect the number of free slots. So here we can see that it's one slot. If we remove this car, we'll see that the number changed to 2. And now my friend Mohamed will tell you more about the IR sensors.
Hi, I'm Mohamed Abd El-Azeem. I'm going to talk about the IR sensors, and now I'm going to demonstrate how they work. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the IR sensors in more detail. Now, as you can see, there's a bigger part. This one is bigger than this part, so this is going to help you identify the pins. The one that's closest to the big part is the analog, the output voltage of the IR sensor, which is connected directly to the Arduino through the analog inputs. Since we have two IR sensors, then they are connected to A0 and A1 respectively. The pin in the middle is the ground pin, which is connected to the breadboard in the ground node. And as well, the last pin is the supply voltage, which is also connected to the Arduino through the breadboard through the supply pin over here in the breadboard. Now, the purpose of the IR sensors is to detect whether or not a parking slot is free. And this is only activated when the weight sensor senses the presence of a car. So as you can see here, suppose that this is a car and it stands on the weight sensor. So the weight sensor activates the system, and the IR sensors send feedback telling the car that there are 2 free slots. Now I'm going to leave you with my colleague Elhamy, who will speak about the LEDs in more detail.
My name is Ahmed Elhamy. I will be discussing with you a detailed description of our LEDs and LCDs connected to our Arduino for our product. As you can see, our LEDs are connected to our 2-level base parking. The red LED indicates that this parking spot is occupied. The green one indicates that it's free. For the upper parking, our LEDs are connected to pin 13 and 53. For the lower part, our LEDs are connected to pin 49 and 51. As for the soldering of the LEDs, it was simple actually. We just had to attach our LEDs to the model and solder it. Just simple, nothing complicated. And as you can see, if you just remove our object vehicle, the LED will turn to green. Now my colleague Raghda will discuss with you about our weight sensors for this model.
Hello, I'm Raghda, and I'm going to talk about my part in the project, which was dealing with the weight sensor. The weight sensor is connected to both the breadboard and the Arduino. One end of the weight sensor is connected to the 5 volts, the positive 5 volts of the board. The other end of the weight sensor, which is the female, is connected to the Arduino board through a resistor. The first end of the weight sensor, which is the female, is put at one node, and the other node is the one which connects the board through the Arduino board. Next, I'm going to talk about the IR sensors. The IR sensors are connected I put the 2 green pins to connect the IR sensors together. Now Omar will talk about dealing with the code.
So here we have 2 main functions, the setup and the loop. In the setup, we just set the LEDs to be outputs in pin 13, 53, 51 and 49. In the second function, the loop, is the main function. So first of all, we just get the value of the input signal from the weight sensor in this variable. And then if the value is greater than 200, then this indicates that there is a car at the entrance of the parking. So we then do all the checks of the IR sensors and the LEDs and the LCD. We perform all the logic, in other words. In the else part of this main method, we just disable all the LEDs and the LCD, and we print that it is not available.